I have a hot take. If social media feels exhausting right now, it's not because you're bad at marketing. It's because most marketing advice doesn't account for your real life.
Right? Like you're a full-time real estate agent, sure, but you also have 37 unread text messages, back-to-back showings, and then you're going home to figure out what to make for dinner that the kids will actually eat.
That's exactly why Camp Modern Agent is coming back for cohort 2. After hosting Camp Modern Agent last fall, one of our campers actually told us, I learned more this week than any other course I've taken. You finally made this make sense.
I love that. Another camper said, this program made me feel like I could take a deep breath and actually do this.
And Camp Modern Agent isn't about posting more or performing for the algorithm. It's about getting clarity around what you want your personal brand to be so that you can finally stand out in your market and effortlessly attract more clients and referrals.
Yeah, this is about marketing that aligns with your life, not takes you away from it. It's not about spending 12 hours in Canva every week or scrolling Instagram to find the latest trending reel ideas that you save in a folder, never to be seen again.
It's actually about intentionally mixing your real life with real estate so you can actually connect with future clients. And that's exactly what we teach you how to do at camp.
Cohort 2 of Camp Modern Agent is coming January 26th through the 28th, and you can go to modernagentsocialclub.com/camp to sign up for the free 3-day challenge.
See you there.
I want to shake your shoulders and be like, you are the only one who has the power to change what's happening in your business.
All it is a distraction. Your most expensive part of being a business owner is getting distracted.
I feel like this entire episode has been one giant mic drop, but I also know it's because we've been in camp, talking about camp, planning camp. This is Camp Modern Agent energy.
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are 2 agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go.
Well, hello, MGs. It is another episode of the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast.
Do you get MGs. It? Okay, we are on our 4th try. I kind of like it.
Okay, I kind of like that it's MG, marketing girl, but we can even spell it EMGEE. I just think it's kind of fun. Yeah, right?
I think of MC.
It's from Mean Girls when that guy, the rapper guy, is like, oh, you... Isn't it sucker MTs ain't got nothing on me? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember. I haven't seen that movie for so long, but I must watch.
You must watch. It is a classic. That's hilarious. Yeah, y'all are going to need to start voting on what you want to be called.
Yeah, please start submitting your feedback. So we've had magnificent marketers, marketing girlies, magical marketers, and now MGs. And we will continue this until
I love it.
Until we get a rush of do that one.
Yes, right? And then we'll make merch. So fun. Chelsea, the most common question that we get in our inbox is, I am doing all the things and nothing's working and still no conversions. Help me. We get it all the time, right? Yep. So we are in the middle of camp right now. So if you are listening to this episode live, it is not too late to join camp. They have access to the trainings for how long?
Through Sunday, February 8th. So we're giving access for 2 full weeks.
There you go.
When we ran it the first time in the fall, people wanted access for longer. I will say this challenge is designed to not be a course. It's designed to be you watch it and implement it immediately. We don't go back and rewatch. We just take action. That's why it's a challenge, not a course. If it was a course, I would be charging you $1,000 for this information and you could have access forever. But we're not doing that. So that is why there's a time cutoff. But I gave you an extra week because I'm so nice.
Yes.
We're nice and magical over here.
And we legit had people tell us that we could have charged $1,000 for
legit. Yeah. We said, if you paid for this, what would you pay? And I was like, whoa, I wasn't thinking that.
Yes.
For a challenge. Again, if it was a course, we're going to charge more. And then you can watch as many times as you want. Okay.
But we're not doing that.
You can join right now. You'll have access through February 8th. Again, we want you implementing what you're learning immediately. So it's
Yes.
not something to just like, oh, great information. Like, I want you to sit down, shut off all distractions, do not look at your phone. I want you to pay attention and do the work. And that's how you're going to
Yes.
stop having this question of I'm doing all the things and it's not working. But in the meantime, we have this episode as well because camp isn't every day of the year, unfortunately. So we're going to dive into why isn't it working for you?
The bottom line is we could go a million different directions with this, but sometimes I think that we have to be honest with ourselves. I think sometimes deep down, the people who message us this question already know the answer. They just are hoping that we tell them a secret path that if you just switch this little toggle on your Instagram settings, everything will change. And it's just unfortunately not the case.
Yeah, it's like the leads are just being blocked by the algorithm. That's not true. But I will say, start with listening to last week's episode. It is setting the stage for what we're talking about today because it was all about, do you really need a personal brand as a real estate agent? And if you're asking, I'm doing all the things and it's not working, help, chances are there are some things over there that you're missing. So listen to that episode. Ask yourself if you had to write it down. I want you to look at your most recent 9 pieces of content, look at your stories right now, read your bio, ask yourself what you've been doing on the app besides posting content, and then write down that answer. Like if you had to be the one to tell yourself what's missing, like write it down because you
Yeah,
do.
we
You
can't say I
probably
don't know.
Right. So beyond that, if they write down what's wrong, what are we going to tell them? What is like the first thing you would tell someone who's like, it's just not working? I'm not getting the results these other people are getting all the time.
The first thing I would ask is how many conversations with your followers and with people in real life are you having every week? Because, I don't care how many views your posts get. I don't care how many likes or comments or shares or whatever. If you're not having conversations, then none of those things matter. Conversations can range from anything from someone commenting on your stories saying, oh my gosh, me too, and down to like, oh, I'd love that house. I'd love to see it, and everywhere in between. But if we are not having conversations with people, then nobody is remembering who you are as they go throughout their day. And then you've basically wasted your time showing up. That's the last thing that we want for you. So I would literally track your conversations.
Yeah, even like in a notebook, do a little check mark every time you have a conversation, or in your notes app, do a little bubble or an emoji. What I like to do if something isn't working like I think it's supposed to is I'm reverse engineering. I'm like, okay, so I'm posting the content, but who's this content for? Like if I were my ideal client, the one that you would love to reach out to you and work with you, what would they think if they saw that piece of content? Like, would they be like, oh, tell me more? Or I can relate, or like, that's so me. Or like, oh, that was cool, or that's cute. Or they just kind of like, oh, that's not for me, scroll right by. But beyond just the posts, and if that resonates with someone, like how else is there a way for them to talk to you? Content is one piece of the puzzle, right? It's one piece of social media. It's not the only piece. And I think there is a little bit of a disconnect that like, oh, if I want to grow my business on social media, I should just post content. But content in and of itself doesn't generate conversations. Content
Right.
is like, if you look at your feed and you look at Instagram, for example, and you think about your feed, that's like, someone's walking by your storefront. They're going to see like, what is this account all about? Or like, what is this piece of content? How does it connect to the bigger picture? Like if I would see a piece of your content in the wild, would I be like, oh, I'm going to click and go learn more? But then when I get there, I want to know like, well, what's inside? Like tell me more. I want to know like, who is this person really? Not just by scrolling content, but I want to see you in your stories. And stories are the thing that is going to lead to the conversations more than
Yeah.
anything else, because people are very mindlessly scrolling on this app. They're not scrolling to try to talk to you, but stories are different. Stories are this peek behind the curtain. It's a lot of times, or could be your face that they see. So it
Yeah.
feels like this is an actual human, not someone just posting and scheduling things out and they don't really care. So as I say all that, like what comes to mind? What are you having like, oh, okay, she just said a bunch of things and I feel like I'm having some aha moments, like stories. Okay.
Yeah,
What would you
exactly.
tell them about stories?
Her stories, I think it can feel so awkward, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to post, feeling like people don't care. I think you have to be more concerned about showing up than showing off. I think as agents, we get in our heads thinking we have to prove our worth by showing how many houses we sold this year or how many people I've talked to or whatever. And while there's a place for that, we have to just be social and just be human. And we can talk about going to showings and closings and all of those things while we are, cleaning out our car real quick before we go to whatever, or taking the kids to the babysitter while we do. Like, we can be in real life, we can be in real conversation with people and not worry so much about showing off and looking perfect, and worrying more just about like showing up, staying top of mind, and starting those conversations.
We have to think what is in it for them. And that can be really hard because when you're showing up on your stories, you are usually talking about something you're doing or showing something you're doing, right? But if we can do it in a way that we're mostly just saying, hey, come along with me, it automatically becomes interesting to the right people, right? Your hottest lead, your most likely to refer you person, all of those things, those are the people watching your stories. They're not the random person who happens to see your reel or the other agent or whatever. In fact, in our weekly Modern Agent Confidential email, I just had someone sign up for it and they responded. And in that first email that you get, I say, like, tell me what you want to see here or whatever. And they said, I want real followers who live where I sell real estate, not other agents. And I'm like, yes, like so much of the content that's circulating that goes, quote unquote viral, it's not necessarily moving the bottom line for anyone. It might be getting them like a boatload of other agent followers, but if your goal is to use social media and you're saying it's not working, you want it to grow your business in like the form of clients and referrals and people talking about you. It's not about going viral. It's not about how many followers do I have. So this is kind of a great place to start, is busting the myth of like, what does working even mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not about the vanity metrics. It is about if you're having the conversations and someone can talk about you when you're not in the room, it's working. And it might take longer than, 2 weeks or 2 months even.
Yeah.
Like, this is the long game. When you're building a personal brand and you're using social media to do it, it is something that will last you a lifetime, but something that lasts a lifetime isn't going to happen for you in 2 weeks or 2 months. Like, most people aren't getting married after knowing each other for 2 weeks or 2 months. We always use that example of you have to date first. Like, someone needs to see you consistently taking your business seriously, which is another thing I want to talk about. How serious are you taking social media? If it has become a box to check, or like I posted that and now I'm done, or, I post 5 times a week and like, why isn't this working? Like, there's got to be more there than that. And I will even go as far as to say it's not really about the post. That's a piece of it, like I said, but it's not. The place you're probably missing is the connecting piece in your stories. Of someone seeing your face, of someone seeing you show up on camera, of someone seeing you like just share and invite them in to like, this is what it looks like when you
Yeah.
hire me, like, and it doesn't have to literally be, here's a story where I'm going to tell you what it looks like when you hire me, but through little things that you're sharing, like, hey, I'm picking up coffees on my way to this showing, or I just got done looking at houses with my buyers and this is the question that came up and now I'm going to tell you. Like, it's these
Yeah.
little pieces that we're just trickling in, like trickling into social media that makes us feel real. We're not a robot that's showing up. We're a human. Someone can access, they can talk to, they can ask us questions. And there's something that they can see themselves in that. Like, oh, she also lives in that neighborhood, or she also goes here in our community, or her kid's also in basketball or whatever. Like,
Right.
there's some commonality that's keeping them wanting to see your content, not one of the other agents in your market.
Absolutely. And I think taking things seriously, that's such a good point, because there's a big difference between marketing your business on social media and seriously marketing your business on social media. We have to go beyond the checking the box and like making our feed look good or updating our profile picture. We have to be very intentional with everything that we put out there. We have a member who said recently in one of our onboarding call, she said, I've been a lifelong mask member, but I've recommitted to staying consistent using only mask content this year. She said, in only my second week of the year, I can see the difference in my engagement and the quality of my content. People are commenting and it's so cool. So that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, if you buckle down and you say, I am going to do the work, and I'm telling you, like, it's not even so much that it is about like posting the content and being intentional, all of that. But it is your mindset and how you're showing up. I'm not like this woo-woo, your energy type of girl at all, but there is a difference that comes across if you are speaking about yourself and your business and your community with conviction, and if you are speaking in a way that exudes confidence and excitement to be there. People feel that, and then they exude that right back. Like, that's just like a natural part of humanity. You know what I mean? And so if you are posting and if you are, doing all the things, but you're not like eager to show up, if you're not like excited to have those conversations, to hop on stories and all of that, people can feel it. Like, they do definitely know that. So I heard this quote recently and it has me like fired up. I feel like my bones, like the blood is boiling under my bones, okay? But it said, life meets you at the level of your audacity. And I just thought, you know what? Like, that is the truth. When we get in our heads and we feel like we have nothing really to share, or we're not that excited about our business, or why would anyone care, or I'm so cringy, or this isn't working anyway, are we going to be audacious enough to show up anyway? And to do the work anyway, even when we feel like no one cares, even when we feel like it's not working, are we going to be audacious enough to show up? Because it always comes down to the fact that this is only up to you. Like, I feel like this is like a really good big sister pep talk today. But like, that's how I want to like shake your shoulders and be like, you are the only one who has the power to change what's happening in your business. You can't depend on everybody else, or you can't depend on all these outside. You can't depend on us. Like, you have to take the reins here and decide, today is the day that I'm going to take what I have learned and I'm going to implement it. And maybe it's baby steps, or maybe it's like I'm going all in. Either one is fine. You're going to get results. Be audacious enough to show up for yourself, even when you don't know what the outcome's going to be or what it's going to look like. Because I'll tell you, it will lead to conversations and it will lead to conversions with time. But be audacious enough to show up.
In case you're wondering, the definition of audacious is showing a willingness to take surprisingly bold risks. So if you are sitting there saying like, but I just feel weird getting my face on camera, good. You have to do it anyways. And if you commit to doing something like that and you keep doing it, you're going to see the payoff. But until you make it a habit, it's not going to happen, which I love James Clear. Everyone loves Atomic Habits, but I have 2 quotes from him. And one is the 1% rule. If you can get 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. So if you want to be better at showing up on social media, you can't wait around for that day to strike. Like, you're going to wake up one day where your alarm clock goes off and says like, hey, today's the day. Today's the day to get on your stories and talk to camera or whatever. You have to just start doing it now, and you have to keep going, and every day you'll get better. But the only way to get better is to do. You have to show up and do it and make it a habit. The other quote I have from him is, intensity makes a good story. Consistency makes progress. So if you want the progress, you want to get better at it, you want it to become effortless, you have to take the actions. And like we said, if this is all about having conversations, and if you want to have conversations, you have to be showing up in a what's in it for them. What would they respond to that? What would they say back to you? And we don't need, again, intensity makes for a good story. We don't need a good story. We just need to show up in a way that someone can be like, yeah, me too. Like, and that should be the biggest freeing permission slip ever, because you don't need to overly worry about creating content or coming up with this really crazy good hook. Like, our hook's good, sure. But at the end of the day, if the conversations aren't there, you just have a feed full of good hooks, right?
Right. You have a feed where other agents want to go onto your feed and save your content for inspiration so that they also can feel stuck and frustrated. That is not
Exactly.
what we want. I also think too, speaking of like mindset, looking at this frustrating point in your life, because we're not talking down to you. We get frustrated with things too. Every once in a while, you just feel like, this isn't working, or I don't even know what else to do, or how else can I say it, or how else can I do this that'll make it click? Like, we get it, okay? But you have to look at that moment, not as like a dead end, but as like a breakthrough. Like, it's not a door closing, it's another door opening kind of mentality. But like, we can't be afraid of being at the bottom of the pit, because that's where we like launch, right? And so don't get in your head and think like this is a scary place, or like this is a bad place to be, and all of those things. Like, really, this is just like, it's almost like the like when you feel really nervous about something, or when you feel like hesitation about something or resistance with something, it's because you're on the edge of something new. But if you feel that resistance, and if you're just scared, like what you just said, like if you're just scared, like don't resist it, but lean into it and like explore it a little bit more. And then you're going to surprise yourself with where you're going to end up. But you have to be okay with being in that place and acknowledging it, and then be willing to do the work to get yourself out of it, to be audacious enough to get yourself out of it.
I would almost, if I were you, treat it like an experiment and like use that quote from James Clear of I'm going to show up every day. And by the end of the year, I am going to be a lot better, because action creates clarity. And as you start to show up, not only will it get easier and more effortless, but let me just give you this example. So we got a DM from someone who did camp last time. They then joined Modern Agent. And she said, ever since camp, I've been showing up on my stories every day, and the amount of conversations I'm having is unbelievable. And now it feels to the point where it doesn't feel like it's any work at all. But to get to, and that was in November 6th. Today is January 14th. So in just over 2 months, and we got this message a week ago, in less than 2 months, she has gotten there. So like, it's not even that it will take a full year. It's just like the more you show up, the more you make it a habit, the more you're doing these things that feel seemingly uncomfortable right now, the quicker you're going to get over that hurdle of them feeling uncomfortable. I always want people to ask themselves, what is the alternative? So if you are going all in on this social media thing and you don't want to pay for Zillow leads anymore, you don't want to send postcards, you don't want to do open houses on Saturday and Sunday, like write down, what is the thing I want to stop doing? Like the thing I wish I could stop doing in this business because it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't bring in great clients. It doesn't light me up, or it's costing me way too much money, or whatever thing it is. Like, what thing would you write down? Because you have to know that there is a cost no matter which thing you're choosing. If you don't want to show your face because you feel uncomfortable, or you don't want to use your stories because you feel like it just takes so much time, like you're paying for that in some way. And if you wanted to use social media because you wanted to stop doing one of those things, or you wanted better clients, or you wanted a way of marketing that you can do while you're at home with your kids and not something that takes you away, like an open house every weekend, like you have to look at that and make that the priority. Like there's something bigger in every scenario. Which one are you willing to let go of? Which one are you willing to prioritize? Like I know that I sure as heck would rather talk on my Instagram stories than sit in a stranger's house every Saturday and Sunday in hopes of meeting a stranger that I'm going to awkwardly try to get their information and then reach out and they probably won't ever answer, or if they do, whatever.
Right.
Like I didn't want to operate that way. That's why all of this exists. And the other thing I will say with this is, like, write down right now, like, not only like what is something you want to stop doing, but like write down that goal. Like you need to lead with your bigger why, not just like, oh, because I post every day, or like I'm an agent who has a social media presence. Like it's more than the presence. If you think about if you showed up once a week talking face to camera on your stories, simply sharing like, here's what happened at the showing today, or here's what I'm doing this weekend, and you started getting really comfortable talking to the camera, and even like, here I'm meeting with a seller today, here's what I told them, and you're like sharing these things once a week. Can you imagine how much more confident you're going to feel, not only on camera, but then in person when you start talking to your clients about pricing their home, or like what to do to like get their home ready for the market, or like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would tell my mom. I'm going to tell you to take down that floral stuff. Like, and feeling the confidence, like you have the confidence to say it because you show up and say it all the time. It's going to feel so much easier to talk to people in real life when you're constantly getting reps in and practicing. Like you don't want your practice round to be at the kitchen table with your seller who is about to pay you to list their $2 million house, or even $400,000 house. Like you don't want that to be your practice round. And so if you can look at social media like, I'm going to challenge myself to do this. I'm going to challenge myself to show up. This is an experiment and I'm going to use it and I'm going to see how much better I get over the course of 90 days. Give yourself 90 days and see the shift, see the conversations change. Now, I will tell you, the people watching your stories mostly are already following you. So if you are in a place where you're like, this just isn't working and you're not growing your following because you're not getting in front of new people, that's another layer to this. So we'll get into that in a second. But like if you focus on what I just said about stories first and you're already doing that, when your content does reach new people, they come to look at you there's a lot more of a chance they're going to click follow when they can actually like see you and hear who you
Right.
are. It's not just like this, I created this because I had to real estate account,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And, let's be honest, like all of that, the practice does build confidence because you do, like, you just feel more confident, you feel more comfortable, it's less intimidating, all of that. But when things haven't been working for a while, it's really easy to take that personally and to feel like a failure and to feel like I'm just not good at this, or I'm too old or too young or too new or what, all these things. We have to stop looking at what hasn't worked as like a personal reflection of who we are, and we have to start looking at it just as data. This is just numbers. Numbers have no emotions attached to them. There's nothing personal there. It's not an attack on who you are and your character. It's just data. And so, it is so frustrating. And we've done this before. We've tried things in business and then been like, well, that didn't really work. And like, you were convinced this is the one. And, you did all these things and you put all this time and energy into it. But if we would sit around and boo-hoo about it all the time, we wouldn't get a lot done. But instead we look at it like, okay, well, that doesn't work probably because of this. So let's take that and let's now do this. Like, it's not personal. Business is not personal. It is just data. And that's what if you look at it that way, I really think you'll get out of your head and out of your slump a lot faster, and you'll feel the desire and like the energy to try new things.
I never thought I would be someone who's obsessed with data, but it is wild what it can do to propel you forward so fast when you look at it that way instead of as a personal thing. Like, maybe if I looked better, maybe if my branding was better, like, push all that out of your head for now, but ask yourself, like, if you thought you posted something that was really good, go in as like someone critiquing it. Like,
Mhm.
again, step into the shoes of that ideal follower, that ideal buyer or seller, and think, why didn't this resonate?
Mhm.
Is your face missing? Is your city name in it? Does it feel cohesive with the rest of the content you put out there? Are the words you're using resonating with that person? Would they say that? Would they think that in their head? And then recreate it again with the little tweaks you think, okay, if I would have done that, I think it would have performed better. Or if I would have said, like, you know, this is for the late country moms who just wish
Yeah.
they could fit all their shoes in their closet. Or like, I mean, you could insert the thing, right? Or wish they had a kitchen big enough to host their whole family for birthday
Yeah.
parties. Like, when you literally use the words they're thinking, your content will change so drastically. And then you become someone like that they feel comfortable with, because they're like, she knows exactly what I want in a house.
Yeah,
So like getting
exactly.
clear on that and then using the data from the performance of your content to think, okay, how could I elevate this? How could I improve this? How could I make this better? You're going to slowly start to improve every time you create a piece of content. Just like if you post it every day, by the end of the year, as long as you're analyzing what you're doing and trying to improve it, your content's going to be 37% times better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, I also think we have to remind ourselves too, like, we're not the first person that this has ever happened to. Like, if you're in a slump, if you're in this growth like phase, if you are not in a growth phase, you wish you were, if you are just putting so much work out there, doing all these things and nothing's working, you're not alone. In fact, I got this book the other day at the library. It's Idea Makers. It's 15 fearless female entrepreneurs, because I wanted my girls to read it. And they were like,
Aw.
oh, that's kind of interesting. But, and I don't know who all is in here. I've read just a few things. But thinking about like people like Sarah Blakely, which she was like rejected how many times before she actually got her like big break, right? Even like Oprah was. Vera Wang, like all of these people, Allie Webb, the dry bar girl, like I think Rode was rejected by Sephora 100 times before they ever took her on. Like, it is insane. So like, take that rejection just as like being one step closer to where you want to go, because guess what? Like, content's going to get rejected. People are going to choose not to work with you like over and over and over again. But that's also leading you closer and closer to your breakthrough, to that breakthrough in your business where you feel like, oh my gosh, this is actually what I've been wanting. Like, how did I end up here? And everyone looks at you like you're an overnight success. And you're like, girl, it was a lot of work,
You know what? It's so funny. It's like the clashing of, like, you have to stay consistent long enough to see the results, but then at the same time, you have to make changes
Yeah.
to improve it so that it resonates or reaches the right people, or like all the things we keep saying. So it is kind of like the clashing of the two. You need to stay
Yeah.
consistent. So you can't just be like, well, this didn't work, so I'm done. Like, of
Right.
course, that's not going to get you any further forward. But at the same time, if you've been posting graphic after graphic after graphic after graphic, you're like, well, I'm not getting any clients. It's also time to think, why are those not working?
Mhm.
Are they creating conversations? Are people talking to me? And then it's time to try something different. So I'm not saying not to post, but it's
Yeah.
like as you go through this journey, it's a combination of the two. You have to stay consistent. You can't obviously stop doing it, but then you have to kind of like think, how could this be better? Or how could I do this a little bit differently? Or how would this make more sense for who I'm trying to actually reach right now? Right.
Right.
So it's kind of taking those two things into consideration. And that is going to only come from the actions you're taking. And honestly, if you aren't super clear on like, well, I don't really know what my people are thinking, like, oh, like start a Google Doc or a note in your phone and start writing things down as people say them to you. Or even I have a folder on Instagram where I save things of like homeowners saying things. So like someone said like the home we thought wouldn't be our forever home. And I'm doing this series right now, like while we're here, because this isn't our forever home, we're building, but not yet. So while we're here, this is what I'm doing. Like like listening, and like you can use Instagram to do this research and create a
Yeah.
folder and save stuff and write down the words that you think resonate, or ask a friend, like say like, "Hey, can I just ask you a few questions about like your house and like your home goals, like real estate goals?" Like think of what
Yes.
words they use, right? And we're not trying to like convince people on Instagram, now's the time to move. That's not what we're doing, right? We're using Instagram to stay top of mind so that when they talk to someone who's moving or they are ready to think about moving, you're the one they think of. We want to position you as the go-to for
Yeah.
everyone you know. So the only way to do that is to get them to connect with you way before they're ever thinking of moving. And that's where I think a lot of the disconnect happens, because it's not about we're going to post and then we're going to get a client because of it. It's through so much more than that. Like I remember like back in the day I had Keeping Current Matters, and they came out with this like lead capture thing where you could post a blog post article like, I don't even know what it was, but you would like or maybe it was like
Yeah.
buyer or seller guides, and you could like do this lead capture. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, I can like talk about my buyer guide, and then someone can like give me their email and now I have a lead. Well, like, do you want to know something? No
Yeah.
one asked for the buyer guide. And then I was like, no one wants a buyer guide. Like
You're
the
right.
people that I'm connected with, they don't want a buyer guide. Like they want to know like what to do in our town this weekend or this summer.
Yes.
They want to know like what's going to be the biggest ROI in their house if they are thinking about renovating, or like they don't want to know, they don't want a buyer guide. The buyer guide is for when they become a client. So then I
Right.
was like, we don't need buyer guides. We just need to meet people where they're at right now so that we
Yep.
can cast the widest net, so that we can not only have a bigger network of people, have this community around us that we're their go-to, so that when they are ready, they're coming to us to get a buyer guide. They're not getting it from a random thing they see on the internet. Like
Yeah.
they want my buyer guide. They don't
Yes,
want a generic, they
exactly.
want mine. They want my system, my process, my way of doing things, because they like me, they trust me, they like how it looks like I operate my business. Like even as like nitty-gritty of things as, if you're sharing in your stories, I don't know, that you're part of a like a gardening club or something, and you talk about like why that's important and what you do and who you meet with and blah blah blah, and you start sharing that. Like this is one of my tips, by the way. Do something in person and then share it online. Like share behind the scenes of it, why you do it. It's contributing to the type of agent you are. Like, oh, she's the type of person who gets in community with other people. She's part of our local community. She volunteers at the gardening club. She hosts this thing at her house. She took
Yeah.
the plants to church, or I mean, like there's so much that we miss the opportunity to bring online, and
Mhm.
we stay focused on the stuff that no one cares about. Like,
Right.
here's this closing, here's how to buy a house, here, like no one today cares about that stuff. So we need to meet people where they're at.
So true. And going back to like you have to be consistent, but you have to try new things. And what's the workaround there? Because there has to be kind of secret. I don't think it's necessarily a matter like those aren't necessarily like one or the other. I think that you kind of do both. So I'm thinking like if you're a person who's posting graphics every week and you're adding your face to it and maybe you're adding your personality in your caption and whatnot, but it's not really working, don't put all your eggs in the graphic basket. But also try putting like a face to cam reel out there, or also try even just like b-roll with a voiceover or whatever. Like try some of those things too. Meanwhile, you can also continue to post the carousels, but maybe switch up the hook or switch up the look of it or whatever. Like you can word things in a way that is less like, I always give the example of like how agents always ask for referrals, but like people always say, I told my friend to call you. Like say things in a way that your people are talking about them. And then that will stop the scroll so much faster than like your referrals are our biggest compliment. Like no one's stopping for that. But I think that's how you balance it. I think that you try that. And then, going back to the whole like, okay, stories are great, but how do I get new people? I think that's how you get new people. It's yes, getting in front of people in real life, like what you just said, bringing that online as well. But also when you mix up your content a little bit, especially like just declare like I'm in an experience phase right now. For the next 3 months, I'm going to try this thing and I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm going to try a few different things here. Start to see what clicks. Start to see, you know what, this carousel actually did really well, but I put a video as the front cover instead of a photo or whatever. Like I changed the fonts or I changed the way I said this or I started using this hook and that worked. Like that's where you start to find new things. So don't take things at face value. We tell our members that all the time, frankly. Like we are super proud of the content that we give them. We give them the content, but we also say like, make it your own too. Like if this feels a little bit off or maybe a little bit either too playful or too professional or whatever, like put your own twist on it and then add it and like see how it does. Like, and then maybe even try that multiple different ways. Try that same carousel multiple different ways. See which one performs the best. I think that's I think that's the balance. Like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
That's such a good point. And that goes back to, we talked about this in our predictions episode for 2026, but looking at patterns, not individual pieces of content. So if you start to notice, like we had one of our members, Natalie, said, I noticed that when my face isn't like I don't do a video with my face or I don't have my face in something, it doesn't perform well. But is there ever a point where I could put it in too much? And I was like, absolutely not. If you have noticed that pattern, you run with that pattern. Now, does that mean you can never post something without your face? No, because it's life. And sometimes we're going to post a cute little checklist or a cute little whatever. But if you have made that connection, then you run with it, right?
Yeah.
Or you think, how else could I do this? Maybe I'm going to do it heavier in my stories, or maybe I'm going to make that first. Or maybe I'm going to do a carousel post, but one of those slides within it will be a video of me giving like a quick tip at the end or saying, hey, if you like this, you also want to know everything about real estate in this city and also my favorite book recommendations, make sure you click follow and send me a DM to say hi. You can tell people where to go. Tell people what to do. People follow instructions, but they follow instructions when it's something that they're seeing over and over and over again. It's so funny because I feel like the topic of food always comes up on these podcasts, but I get so overwhelmed by the amount of food ideas, recipe ideas, meal prep. It is so insane on social media, right? You can get it for free by the hundreds.
Yeah.
But it drives me nuts because then I go to like plan my food for the week and I'm like, oh, that recipe said comment recipe to get it. I'm just so irritated that I'm like, I'm only going to follow one. I'm going to follow for my recipes? A cookbook. I don't even want to open this app for this.
Yeah.
So like we talked about it towards the beginning about like getting distracted by like all these things. And then you're constantly shifting the way you do things and you don't do it long enough to even see if something can work. But when it comes to social media, if you have like 4 memberships and you screenshot ideas every single day and you have 18 folders of content ideas, but you're not doing anything, you need to stop. Like that is so, so harmful. Like me, I'm like, well, I'm not making any of this. Like it just feels so overwhelming. Pick one and stick with it and follow it. And don't get sidetracked by, oh my God, try this trend or this one has this thing or like, oh, you're going to love that. Like all it is a distraction. Your most expensive part of being a business owner is getting distracted. That is the most expensive thing you will experience. So more than anything. So if you're like, I think Modern Agent would help me focus and then I can stop all the noise, that's going to save you so much money in the long run or whatever it is for you, Don't have 3 coaches. Don't listen to 18 podcasts. Like you need to get focused and find the person, the thing, the membership, the thing that's going to work for you that you can stay consistent with and not keep getting like noise. The noise is everywhere. The noise is not calming down. It's not getting turned down. So like you have to figure out how to control that. I don't know where I was going with that, but came to my mind.
I feel like this entire episode has been one giant mic drop, but I also know it's because we've been in camp, talking about camp, planning camp. This is like Camp Modern Agent energy right here, this whole episode.
Yes.
So if you're listening right now, please join us. Go to modernagentsocialclub.com/camp. You can sign up. It's free. You don't have to be a member to join. Anyone can join. We're just going to do a couple days of trainings, and then you have access to the videos for a little bit here. But if this is like making you feel fired up and making you feel like, all right, I'm done making the excuses and I'm ready to have the audacity to change things in my business, sign up right now and go join us, because we can't wait to talk to you. We can't wait to help you and give you like clear direction. I feel like this is like a really motivational episode, but camp is going to be like, here's your action steps. Here's exactly what you're going to do today to make this happen for yourself.
I'm going to give you a little checklist of things to take with you right now, too, because we talked about a lot, but really it comes down to you want to take it seriously. That is first and foremost the biggest priority. If you're not taking it seriously, it's not going to go anywhere, right? So we need to get serious. Take your personal feelings out of it. Look at it as data. Look at patterns. Look at how can I try different things. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, in one content type or one just posting or just graphics. Practice. So like make this a habit and get in your reps. Show up every day until you get 1% better every single day over the next year. And you need to get your face in your content, not just a picture of your face. Like it's going beyond that, you guys. You've got to get your face on your camera so someone can actually see who you are, what you're like, even if they don't listen to what you're saying. They're going to see you show up over and over and over, and they're going to be like, she's really taking her business seriously. Like, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard. And I will say, as a little bonus PS, and we've talked about this so many times, get ready every day. Wake up and get ready. If you have no appointments, if you don't have an appointment till 4, if you didn't sleep at all last night, I still want you to like do the 5-minute merit routine or whatever they call it, where you can just put on a little bit of something, put on the class, make yourself ready. Because when you're ready physically, you're ready to get your face on camera, to get your face in your stories, to go get a coffee and potentially talk to someone there. You're ready for the day in every capacity. So get yourself ready. That is almost like if I had to start with one thing with this episode, get ready every day, show up every day.
Yeah.
Get 1% better every single day. And you will have a completely different, much better business at the end of this year.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool. Well, hey, we will see you all at camp, hopefully. Otherwise, I'm not going to say your line.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, MGers.
Magical marketers.
Right?
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.